Hello and welcome to a beautiful autumnal afternoon here in equally beautiful Nova Scotia. Welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. My name is Steve Farley. Well, it is a beautiful afternoon here in Nova Scotia, but it's definitely autumnal. I know I've got my t-shirt on, but I've actually got trousers or pants on now for the first time in quite a few months, and there's a definite nip in the air. I'm here on my pool deck, in amongst my sort of semi-tropical area. This massive, really proud of this massive castor bean plant that I've grown from seed this year. But it's going to die off. There's a cheeky squirrel there, obviously been in my bin, with a bit of cheese in his mouth. He was over there just a minute ago, giving it lots of noise. I've had to see him off now anyway, but where was I? Yes, so this castor bean plant grew it from a seed this year. Absolutely beautiful, massive great big plant, but equally proud of these lovely banana plants that I've got and grown here. I bought them last year, I think, overwintered them. They're only tiny, but I overwintered them, and they've grown absolutely beautifully this year. Obviously you can see the beautiful green and sort of dark browny red foliage is really sort of sets off the area, especially, you know, when the sun's shining through it, etc. Mrs F's on her sunbed reading a book, me and the boy are skylarking in the pool. Absolutely beautiful in the summer, but they're not going to last outside here, especially here in Nova Scotia when it gets down to -25 at night. They're not going to last over the winter, so I need to winterize them. There's a couple of different ways of doing it, which we'll come to in a minute, but the old banana plant, obviously it's a tropical plant. It's actually a herbaceous perennial, and what you see is the trunk or the stem is actually called a pseudo stem, and all it's made up of is the tightly wrapped leaves all the way up. And as soon as these leaves get a bit of frost on them, they'll be gone, and that's normally down to sort of excuse me, you know, at freezing they'll go, but below freezing the actual corm itself, the root, that will die off as well. So we want to protect it at all costs. You know, it doesn't matter about the stem, etc., but the corm we want to protect at all costs from frost. So like I said, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. If you're in an area, sort of zone 8 area, that gets a bit of frost but not too much, if your banana plant is in the ground, and where I used to live in beautiful Cornwall in the southwest of England, we hardly ever got any frosts, and we had all sorts of, believe it or not, palm trees, and I could grow banana plants in my actual garden without having to dig them up or anything. But what you could do if you're in zone 8 is sort of cut it down to about sort of 6 inches above the ground, and then cover it with lots of a sort of mulch, whether it be sort of leaves or anything like that. Give it a good mulching all the way around, and then put some sort of cloth over it as well, and tie that in and wrap it round, and then the leaves, etc., and the mulch will provide a nice bit of sort of a blanket and air sort of blanket around there, and then you also have the sort of the blanket on top as well. But it's still, we're in zone 6 here, so it's too cold for even that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in. I could just bring it in to a sunny room and just leave it to sort of, it will continue to sort of very slowly grow, keep the soil damp but not wet. But this is getting a bit big for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the leaves off, even though they're still looking absolutely beautiful and you don't really want to do it. I'm going to cut all the leaves off in a minute, and then I'm also going to take it out of this pot, and I'm going to dry the the corm off a little bit, and then I'm going to repot it and put it into a you can put it into a garage or a dark room, somewhere around about between 5 and 10 degrees, which is centigrade, which is something around 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But first of all, I'm going to take them out of these pots, and why don't you come along and have a watch? Here we go. Right. So first things first, let's cut these leaves away. See what we can do. I'm loath to do it. As I said, this is a pseudo stem made up of all these leaves, basically, all sort of tight in. And the majority of the banana plant is actually really water. And this is one of the things that we've got to do if I want to store it and prevent it rotting. Grew a nice, beautiful geranium in here this year. I think it's one of the ones that I took cuttings from early in the season, 5 cuttings, and absolutely grew spectacularly. I think there's a picture there, maybe, hopefully. Beautiful flowers all summer long, really sort of accenting off the leaves of the tree as well. Right, so these are fairly new, and what I'm really going to do here is just chop them off at the stem. Where's that gone? Oh, my poor banana plant. So this is all going to grow back, you know, and because it's this big this year, it will grow bigger next year, hopefully, if I can get it to last over the winter, which I should be able to do. But the secret now is to dry it out quite a bit, because I want to be thinking about reducing the watering to almost nothing over the winter time. And stupid of me, hold my hand up here, I've only just realised that there's no holes in the bottom of this pot, hence the water's been coming up and up. So no wonder it's been doing quite well, but let's hope it's not rotting. But let's get this over. So this is oh, it just says Musa exotic. No, that can't be Musa exotica. Anyway, it's a Musa beautiful. Let's see if we can get this out. Here we are. Yeah, so that was full up with water. So I need to drill some holes next year. Did the trick though. Right, so what I'm really going to do then is I'm just going to let this dry off. I'm going to put it under the eaves of my shed, let it dry off a bit over the next couple of nights, and then I'm actually going to store it in one of these burlap feed bags that I've got, that I grew my potatoes in this year. I'm going to put some earth in the bottom of that, some nice dry got some beautiful dry leaf mould here, as you can see, beautifully smooth and dry. Well, not smooth, soft. And that'll be my medium. So we'll dry this out now. So we'll do the next one, and then I'll transport them down to underneath the shed, and let them dry out for the next couple of days. What I actually really want to do is turn it upside down. So I want to fashion some sort of mechanism that I can turn it upside down, and then any water in the stems, you know, here will drain out and it will be really nice and dry. Otherwise there's a real chance of inside the actual stem there of it rotting, and then that will rot. And like I said, because it's mostly water, that rot will come all the way down and then go into the actual corm, which obviously we don't want. So let's give this a good drying out now. Hello again. Right, I've got some old bucket thingamajigs here, a couple of these, and I think this is going to be deeper than the stem that I've got left. So if I turn it upside down, that should be just the ticket. Let's have a look, shall we? I've got a feeling I'm going to get a bit mucky now. Yep, but I reckon that will do. Do the next one. Now I'll leave that probably leave that a good week to sort of dry out. It's nice. We're in the greenhouse, even though we're what, we 1st of October, 2nd of October. You can tell it's been a warm September, because if you look over there, the old cucumbers are growing aplenty. I don't even like cucumbers, I just give them away. And here we've got Mad Hatter, the old chilies, Mad Hatter peppers. They're beauties. They always throw out loads, they do, so that's good. And all my other stuff's going on. But nice and warm in here in the daytime anyway. I not forecast any low temperatures yet, but I might just cover it with one of those burlaps, if I can. Right, I'll have to find something else, see if I can cover it, just in case it gets a bit nippy at night. But leave this a good few days, about a week, and that should have dried out, and the stem should have dried out, and then we can get to the next bit of maybe taking away a bit of this root ball, and then leaving, you know, the corm, etc. And then I can fit it in this bag with a nice bit of dry compost leaf mould around it. See you in a few days. So these bananas have been upturned for about a week now. Still quite damp. Obviously it's not getting as warm in the greenhouse now, so it's not drying out as much as quickly as I wanted it to. So what I've done, this one I've already done. I've taken a bit more of the earth off. I picked it off, and as you can see, looking in the bucket, there's quite a bit of water there, so that's good, drained away, but it's still quite damp. So I'm going to take a bit of this earth off and then give it a few more days, literally just pulling the earth off like that, and that'll expose a bit more of the underneath, and then that can sort of dry out a little bit more. Obviously I don't want it to dry out completely, but it's still quite sodden, and I don't really want to store it when it's completely like this. And then if I take a bit of this off the outside as well, it will be easier to fit my bag that I want to put it in over the root ball. So I need a bit more around the edges anyway. So be back again in a few more days. Hello, welcome back. Well, it's been a good 10 days since I put these upside down in the old buckets. I've had a load of water obviously come out, but unfortunately, because they were so wet, the actual root balls, because I'd flooded them in the actual in their pots, still rather damp around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn them round up right now, so that this bit at least gets a chance to sort of dry out in the greenhouse. Got forecast another week of above freezing temperatures, so that should help it, and it's been nice and warm in the day in here, so that should dry this bit out. So what I'm going to do is put them in the bags that I'm going to keep them in over winter, and in the bottom of these bags, as you can see, I've got a good few inches of leaf mould, nice dry leaf mould, and I'm going to put them in there. If it will fit, hopefully. Right. So I've got them in there. You know, you could put them in pots, but I think I'm going to try all this, see what it's like. I've got some more leaf mould here. Pack that nice around the edges. So that's it really. As you can see, I've covered the root ball all the way with leaf mould, all the way round, up to up to the top light. That's nice and dry. That should hopefully soak a bit of the more dampness out. Now, as I said, I'm going to leave this like this for another week or so. Hopefully the weather will play good, and then I'm going to transfer it to a nice dark place, you know, in my cellar. That's going to be, you know, above freezing, normally about 5 to 10 degrees. You know, it goes to minimum, it'll go down to like 5 degrees, but you know, this should stay nicely over the winter now once it's dried out. I'll keep an eye on the root ball, just give it a little bit of a spray of water on the root ball every now and then if it looks like it's dried out too much. Keep an eye on this bit here, make sure it's nice and dry, and it should be ready, nice and rested throughout the winter, ready for another beautiful display this summer, making my pool deck look nice and tropical. Anyway, job's a good one.